All right, you ready to get to this last topic, man?
Yeah, what do we got?
Well, we had groundbreaking rulings from a court standpoint, man. Supreme Court ruling, man, going against the NCAA unanimously, a 9-0 count that essentially approves the NCAA to not just be able to limit the compensation that they're able to give players. Now they can do a lot more with their image, likeness, and their branding as well. This is a significant step in terms of a ruling, in terms of guys actually being able to earn money and, at the collegiate level as athletes, which typically hasn't been the case. Typically, if you get $5 from someone, that could cost you a game, that could cost you eligibility.
Which is just ridiculous.
Whereas we would talk about coaches that were making millions of dollars, or how any other person in college, you can be a marketing major, you can be a freshman and have an internship at a Fortune 500 company that's a marketing guru, and you could be getting paid a great salary there as an intern, and nobody's going to speak negatively of you. They're not going to say you're not an amateur anymore. They're not going to say that this isn't pure or anything like that. We're going to say, man, this guy's ahead of the curve. This guy's, not only getting an education, but he's making money while getting experience. This is what you want. But with college sports, that was the disconnect. That was the one where they were saying, well, no, you're not allowed to earn money, even though you're generating billions of dollars. And the thing that the NCAA said was just the business model itself. The Supreme Court was saying that the business model itself, only in football would you even consider this to make sense, where the NCAA's argument for not paying players was our consumers like the fact that we don't pay our players, and they feel that that's what makes our product so good. And it's like, that would be like Walmart saying, well, hey, man, we don't want to pay our employees because our customers like Walmart better when they think we have people that work here for free. And it's like, no, that's not cool. Like, you got to pay players. Now, not saying that these guys should be making millions of dollars, and that's not going to be the case, but I do think that this was a significant step.
I don't know what the hell they're talking about, because college hoops has been a terrible product over the past 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was so good in the 2000s and the 90s.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, and I think it's based off these rules. You got to think, like LaMelo Ball, some of these dudes that could be going to college, they go overseas. They go try to find different opportunities, because the NCAA, it's just a terrible opportunity based off of not getting paid at all. Or not even, it doesn't even necessarily have to be that the colleges pay you. It's like, how can I make some money while I'm doing this, though?
This is the
car
thing,
sponsorships,
branding,
social media stuff, whatever it is. If you can't allow that, then it's just a bad deal for anyone.
Yeah. And now I did see where Richard had brought up about athletes and they're getting the scholarships and free education. And I do agree with that. That is a part of it. But the difference is this: I know people that want academic scholarships, they could still go and work and get money for their skills. They could still go and market what they do to earn. If they wanted to start a YouTube channel and profit on that, they could do that. Whereas college athletes, even if you're on scholarship or not on scholarship, because not every college athlete is on scholarship. Some of my best friends were walk-ons and never got a dime from a university, and they still had the same exact rules I had. So it doesn't always pertain to scholarship athletes either. But if any of us would have said, well, hey, man, this dealership wants me to do an autograph signing, or the bookstore that's selling my jersey, if I go in there and I try to get my jersey for free, I'm going to get in trouble for that. Or if they give me 5% of all of my jersey sales, I'm going to get in trouble for that. That's the difference. College people, I mean, think about it. It's a person in college right now that probably wrote some book that are selling it on Amazon. It don't have to be a bestseller, but they wrote a book, they're selling it, and they're profiting on that. They can do that. College athletes, we couldn't do that up until this ruling. So that's another reason why, man, it is very, very significant, man, for them to be able to do that now.
What's going to be really interesting to me is how the power dynamics play out with SEC or the big time conferences versus maybe schools because I'm thinking Pitt right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be something that SEC schools like Alabama and then even like Clemson, USC, like these big programs that they can take complete advantage of, and then the difference between the big schools and the mid-tier schools
even greater?
Or does this open up equal competition to schools like Pitt or not the football powerhouses to be like, yo, you can up your program by bringing in people that are really like social media savvy or business savvy that could look out for the players in that vein, where it's like, yeah, I'd rather go to maybe a place like Pitt because they have people that can navigate these social media waters, that can get
Right.
maybe business deals or
And
bring
maybe a bigger brand individually.
exactly. So it could go two ways.
It could,
And that's why I
yeah.
find it really interesting. But I feel like Alabama or those type of schools already have those type of resources that they could do that. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I worry about that a little bit, but it's an equal playing field right now. But
see, that was the thing that I was concerned about. I know this because I had somebody give me that same argument. They were like, well, not everybody is Alabama. What about this mid-major school that might say, hey, we're going to allocate all our resources for this one guy? And my thing is, okay, say you're Pitt and say you have $100,000 marketing budget for a specific player. Now, we know that this player is already going to be not the biggest star coming in because we know all the bigger name guys are going to go to your Alabamas, your Clemsons, your Ohio States. We know this. So you're already working with a little bit of a mid-tier recruit. So say your budget is $100,000 that you're going to offer this guy, not cash, but we got $100,000 budget for your marketing that we can generate signings here, endorsement here, ultimately do this thing to make money. Well, if Pitt's marketing balance or marketing budget is $100,000 and Alabama's marketing budget is like $1 million, they're going to be able to get those kids too. That's the part where I started to get a concern. And then also I thought of going back to remember when Title IX came out, right? That was a big deal. And what Title IX basically said was you're going to have to evenly allocate resources to all these programs, not just the programs that generate the money. So it can't just be football gets the money. No, you got to make sure that golf gets a little bit of money or wrestling gets money. And the adverse effect of that was schools started to say, we're going to just drop programs instead of trying to pay all of these programs equally or fund these programs equally. So that's another thing that you might have to be concerned about, because say you are a mid-major, say you are the University of Buffalo, and you're like, bro, I can't keep up with Syracuse. I can't keep up with West Virginia. I can't keep up with Michigan, Ohio. Why am I going to keep my program? I'm losing money having this football program here. So now, because you're not getting those type of guys in there, now you're really not competitive. Nobody's tuning into you. What if you just say, we just drop our football program? Saves them money, but you think about how many of those kids now, number one, lose out on education. Number two, lose out on the opportunity to play college football. Like, that's the other side where you have to be cautious as well, man. It's very nuanced, man.
No, you're 100% right.
It's very nuanced,
what
bro.
can you do then? Maybe put a cap on the type of budgets that people can put into their programs from that standpoint in terms of endorsements, sponsorships. And I don't know what the answer is. I do think just the end of the day, getting this going into this direction is probably the right move. There is going to be consequences, though. You just got to try to navigate that, because the system that they had wasn't good. So at least try to improve it a little bit. You just gotta figure out the negatives.
Only the NCAA could make this business model sound like it would make sense. Like, imagine, Deke, if I said, hey, you gonna come in here, you gonna work, you gonna bust your tail. I'm not gonna pay you anything because everybody that watches, they like it better when they think you don't get money. You'll be like, what? That don't make sense. Like, all this I'm doing, I'm doing this, and I don't get any of that. Like, we would have it would be an issue. You would be like, I'm not showing up anymore. That's what the NCAA has been doing, and we all put it on the premise of free education. But everybody isn't on scholarship. And when you start to go down to these smaller programs, right? A D1 school might have 75 scholarships, right? 90 guys on the roster, only 75 scholarships. Now, when you go to the 1AA, it might be 55 scholarships. Now, when you go D2, it might be 20 scholarships. D3, 0 scholarships. But yet everybody is having the same rules and the same restrictions on what they can and cannot do. Yeah, that's a major flaw right there, man. But now Michael brings up a good point here. Michael, we appreciate your contribution. He says paying players also adds a new dynamic of players getting in trouble before making the NFL. He does bring up a good point, because with that money at that young of an age, where some of these guys will be able to generate. Imagine Johnny Manziel. If he was able to market himself and make money, he probably would have been.
He talked about it. He got like $30,000 illegally from just signing some stuff.
Like he would easily be making 6 figures while there. So you could imagine that type of money at 18, 19, even at 21, 22, what it did to him was kind of wacky. But at that age, that could.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Do you put a cap on it somehow, some way?
But are you?
I don't know if that's the answer either. It doesn't really make sense to me.
Like,
I know.
If you're an intern, if you're working your internship, how can I tell you have a cap on how much money you're able to make? Like, if your market is that should be what you're able to make, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That doesn't make complete sense either.
Mm-hmm. And Scott Thomas, he brought up this right here, talking about the jersey sales in NCAA and just how huge they've been and how players traditionally have gotten $0. In fact, AJ Green got suspended for selling one of his jerseys. It's crazy. This is what had been going on with the NCAA, man. So it's definitely good to see this starting to change.
Yeah, that needed to be changed. Now where do we go from here is the question.
But in terms of capping it, this is the part that makes it interesting to me. Because a guy like Trevor Lawrence, right? With the way inflation works, with the way the market works, and just how us in America, the numbers continue to go up. He might have been flirting with $1 million, right?
Sure.
Easily. He could have been flirting with that. Or if he would have started football camp and say, I'm going to charge $1,000 a head.
Think of Tebow down in Florida.
Bro,
Liner at USC.
Oh my God. Like, it would have been insane. They could literally charge $1,000 a head for a football camp, get 200 kids in there. Boom. Like, that's what those guys are capable of. So to put a cap on it, what I would probably do this. I've seen this, I think, with NBA, they do this. They're trying to do it with some of the NFL teams. With some of the younger players, right? When they get these bigger deals, instead of giving them that money directly, they put it in different like escrow accounts and stuff like that, where they'll get a certain portion of it up front, but they don't get all of it. It has like, they can't touch it until like certain ages and stuff like that. I know Allen Iverson has something similar to that as well. He actually said that's the biggest reason why he's not broke now. Like, it was something with his Reebok deal. That's actually a pretty good idea. Yeah, it was something with his Reebok deal.
You have the spending money that you can have just to go out and stuff, whatever it is.
So the way his is set up, he had a lump sum up front, but then it was after age 40 or something like that, he would get a couple of $1 million like every couple of years, and it would just continue on like that. And that's ultimately how he said, man, he survived, and why he didn't go broke was because that money was waiting on him. Otherwise, he said he'd have been just like everyone else. So that is something that they could look into, because those younger guys, they are not accustomed to having that type of money. Even us, when we make it professionally, it takes us a couple of years to understand how to handle that money, how to say yes, how to say no to people and things like that.
I think it protects you from agents and these people that are out here that are probably just using you as a cash grab too. If your money's just out there for the future, it can't be touched. All you have is X amount for this year, your sophomore year, your junior year, whatever it is, that you could use just as extra spending money. Then all of a sudden, I don't think those dudes can be coming for you like that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's a loophole to that, but just kind of speaking out loud with ideas here.
Yeah. Now, Eric Hargrove says it should only be a cap on profit sharing in regards to the sports programs.
Yeah.
Not for the internships or the other jobs. I agree with that too. Like, because obviously we know certain sports are going to generate crazy paper, which they should. But yeah, you can cap how much you should give to the other people, because if you over here, you making all that money. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
Wait, what's he talking about then? Like the amount of money that they
like I'm taking
use towards like their players.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think he's saying it like that in terms of, all right, if we generated an extra $500,000 for our players only, there should be a limit on how much they should have to share with other sport programs. That's what I think he's saying. So if the cap was, hey, every year you're going to have to share $30,000 with this program. So if you made $2 million, it's still going to be capped at $30,000. It's not going to be increasing because you were able to increase your budget. That's what I think he's saying.
Okay. I'm going to have to think about that a little bit more. Because it goes back to what I was saying, the resources that Alabama is going to be putting towards their program versus potentially Pitt or like Boston College.
Or even JMU. I think of like mid-major.
Like if somehow you could equal that out. I mean, these schools are going to find loopholes, but at least make it so they have to find the loopholes as opposed to it being out in front like that.
But then the other thing that I was like a little cautionary about was when you start having that type of money that could be sent to players, right? In terms of, hey, man, I'm Alabama. We got this marketing set up, man. We could do this and this and this. What starts to happen, I feel, is you get the kids that, and we're already seeing the transfer portal become a thing and people are starting to transfer for various reasons. But I think we'll see a lot more of that, because if I'm at this school, right, and I've built up JMU, I've been there for 2 years now and I'm doing my thing. I'm about to become a star here. But if Virginia Tech were to come and they say, well, hey, look, man, the JMU marketing team that's around you right now, they're doing good. They're building your platform. But we can do a lot more. And we can make sure that you're going to earn this much money while doing it. I'm leaving. I'm not going to be at JMU. And I think we would see a lot more of that. And I bring it up because, number one, it's going to suck for us as fans, because it's like, man, we it's going to be hard to really fall in love with our team when we're going to be losing those type of players like that. But the second thing that I bring up is the development of the players. I'm more concerned about, because for me, college wise, I always enjoy college because you are guaranteed to have 3 to 4 years of being there and having to develop, have to learn from that system. And that's where you really can hone your skills. But if you're treating those years of college of, I'm not looking to develop, I'm looking to get money, you're not going to be able to be as developed as you should be. You're not going to be able to be the player that you could potentially be. And ultimately, as hard as it is to make it to the NFL, now you're going to put yourself at a disadvantage, because you're not going to be having all those fine tool things, because you've been bounced around from here to here. Even though this coach is the best coach for you, this fit is the best fit for you on field, but because they were giving you more money, you wanted to hop over there. That's the other part where I'm just like, you got to worry about that, because I know I for a fact would probably have done that. Like, if the money would be better at this university versus this one, yeah, at 18, 19 years old, yeah, you're going to be looking at that money like, dude, I got my family, lights turned off right now. Like, dude, I'm over here scraping up money for Wendy's for a nugget. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if you're going to tell me I can get more over here, like, I'm going. So that's the part where I'm just like, even more, you really got to be careful with this thing, man.
Got to be careful. And the thing that's interesting to me, though, is maybe the thing that needs to be taught then is you got to be thinking long term with this.
Yeah.
Because I think there is the valid point of, hey, I just need money right now. I need to take care of my family. Like, you should always be looking out for that.
True.
But also, that's not the be all end all. Like, you can do that, but you also got to still put in the work, because I think ultimately that's who's going to rise to the top. Because the fluff, like the marketing stuff, I'm this and that, I'm getting my name out there. If you're not performing, it's like, bro, that's all it is then. It's all fluff. So, like,
but
long term,
how many 5-star athletes come out and they're all world and they're big time social media following, but they get to these universities and they struggle. They get to these universities and, oh, you're 5-star. That's cool. He's 5-star. He's 5-star. He's 5-star. Like, they kind of get lost in that shuffle, but that could, man, it could play into those bad decisions though, bro.
Oh, it definitely can. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think there needs to be other voices with this. But dude, that's what it is, man. Social media, attention, all this stuff, it's going to reign supreme, like, in the moment.
Yeah.
But I think the truth, the long-term stuff, that the shit you read in books, the stuff you hear from, like, really wise people and speakers, that's the stuff that's probably going to play out for you better long-term. If you're thinking about, like, an NFL career.
True.
At the end of the day,
or at least you would hope so.
However much you're getting paid, like, maybe that should be the goal. Yeah. You're getting X amount of money so you can take care of yourself, take care of your family. But long term, I still got to put in the work. If I want to get drafted, I want to make it to the league and whatnot.
All I'm going to say is, bro, you're speaking from a wise perspective. You're older. Us at 18, us at 19, us at 20, us at 21. We're not thinking like that.
No, 100%. That's why it is going to change a little bit. It's going to change a little bit for sure.
Like, it's you got to be real careful with that thing, man. And I wonder if they could. My lip got dry. But I wonder, could they do something similar to what the NFL does in terms of having it's like what the NFL they do.
The symposiums.
Well, obviously the symposiums are huge, but the certified financial planners and advisors that they can use. It's a list that have to go through NFL level clearing, NFL level background checks, NFL level teaching to make sure that we understand we're all on the same page and nobody's going to get, taken advantage of. Now, guys get taken advantage of still because they decide to go with somebody outside of that network of NFL certified financial advisors. But if the NCAA decided, or if they used a third party private, if you didn't trust the NCAA anymore, which I could totally understand, I would still want to see them have like a group of, okay, these are the financial advisors that everybody is going to have access to, or these are the guys you pull from. And if you're a financial advisor, I mean, it makes sense to put your name in that pool anyways. You'll make money on the investments, but they don't have to pay these people. No, you only pay them when you make money in terms of investments that are successful. So it's a low risk, high reward, but it will protect them from just making reckless, bad financial decisions.
Okay, I get what
So
you're
that's
saying.
something I could definitely see them thinking about doing, man.
You brought up this point a while back. I remember you talking about college. I think even LeVar Arrington was talking about this too. Like, there is something to playing college football with your boys in college. Don't have to worry about money.
Slumming it, being broke, absolutely.
You said there was like a purity to it. Like, if you look back on
Yeah.
your favorite football years, you would say
Those
it was in
years,
college
yes.
football.
Absolutely.
So that's something that's probably just not going to be the same anymore.
I feel like,
but not saying college football as it was pure, because NCAA was taking advantage.
I
so
put it like this:
something needed to change.
I think as a whole, it still will have its purity, because what we're talking about in terms of the people getting paid, we're talking about the outliers, the 5% or 10% of actual college athletes. When we look at Alabama's roster, right? How many guys are on their roster right now? About 80 guys. How many of them actually went to the NFL last year? You know what I mean? Like, as much as
7 or 8. I don't know.
Right. So with that, it's like, what I'm basically saying is, even with these programs, the people that we're talking about making this type of money, it's a small select few of them. You know what I mean? So like, I don't think that it's going to get to the point where it's all money, NFL, no purity there. I still think a large amount of these guys are still going to have that purity, because if you're the backup left guard, your marketing ability isn't going to be that crazy. I mean, you still be able to generate money, which you should, but it's not going to be to the point where you lose the purity element of it at the NCAA level. That's basically what I'm trying to say right there.
Get what you're saying.
Yeah, man.
That was good, though. We don't really have necessarily answers for all this, but I do think it's a step in the right direction versus what the NCAA was, because I don't think that was the answer. Something had to change at some point, because those stories, like you said, of just, hey, what was something about tattoo? What was Terrell Pryor? Something with tattoos?
Yeah, he got a free tattoo. The guy was a Ohio State
like,
fan.
It's just ridiculous. Like, some of those stories are absurd.
He got the free tattoo, and then obviously forfeited wins. We know Reggie Bush, I think, was the car. Was Reggie Bush the car? Yeah, I think he got a car or something like that. Cost him the Heisman and the national championship, but we still say Reggie Bush the Heisman Trophy winner from that year. I don't care what none of y'all gonna tell me. Y'all not gonna make me unsee that. So yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many stories where it's just like, this lacks common sense. So something needed to change. There's obviously a lot of obstacles that we just talked about here. It's not like it's going to be perfect, or it's like, wow, just because we did this, college football is in such a better place. There's actually going to be a lot of obstacles here trying to navigate this, but hopefully, hopefully we make it better.
This was fun though, man.
It was a fun conversation.
That's a good convo right there, man. Good convo. Let me see. We try and read through some of these, man. They are like super wordy.
That's a deep topic.
It is, man. But a lot of them were, man, basically saying right here, Donald Copeland, man, the NCAA was robbing them kids, man. It's a shame. James says, what about $1,000 a month for bills / food, books, etc.? Almost like a monthly stipend type thing. Now, we do have some of those things already in place, and I know that's evolved since I've been in college. I know when my first years in college, we couldn't receive any type of stipends during the summer time frame or something like that, and then towards the junior senior, we started being able to get like monthly checks from that. So that part, I know that has been continuing to grow. But yeah, man. And a lot of people are talking about the NCAA jersey sales, players being able to get a cut of that. That should be something.
Yeah, put the name on their jersey.
Seriously, dude. Absolutely, man. Scott brought up that right there, man. So I definitely agree with that as well, man.
Yeah, because now they're going to be re-releasing NCAA football, I think, in a year. And I think with that, if this ruling goes hand in hand with it in a way, you could even put the names on the jerseys and the names on the icons in NCAA football too.
True, yeah.
So maybe you could do that. There's a bunch of different. I'm sure they're going to be able to get money. Now the question is, what we were talking about is like, how do you make it equal for all the schools so there's a fair competitive landscape? And then what do you do with the couple players that are just maybe all in on the money, all in on the marketing, that type of stuff? And there's so many different elements to this, because like you got the star quarterback, they could be making millions of dollars versus the starting
Zach
left
Wilson
tackle
and BYU, man.
Yeah, it's just going to be different. Like how do you navigate all this stuff? And then how do you keep interest for the fans? Because all of a sudden, what if it becomes way more about the individual bouncing around teams? It's like, I can't really get behind Pitt. I can't really get behind my team because there's no connection there anymore. But we'll see how it plays out, because this may or may not be the case.
Yeah. We will see, man. But either way, it's groundbreaking, and it needed to happen, man. So I'm glad about that, bro.
Yeah, definitely.